Is it possible? You can. Then the valuation is very low. Let's go to the next stage. I have started building this property. 30% of the property is over. He comes to me and says, sir, my 60%, my children are asking for money. I want to sell 10 flats. So some buyer he finds for 10 flats. And therefore he is going to dispose of that. Will it come under this again? He is going to dispose the property to somebody. There, what is the agreement he is going to get into? Property is not complete. 30% I have put up. What is the agreement he will get into with buyer?
Agreement to sell.
Agreement to sell. And if it is a single agreement as per L&T, works contract is there. If it is two agreements, agreement to sell separately land, undivided interest and construction, then on construction he has to pay. Will he be liable now for sale of that flat?
No, he will not have.
Why? Who said that? Yeah.
Because he is transferring his right and transfer of title.
Okay. So if I get into an agreement to sell my house which I have in Bangalore, I have a flat with you, does it mean it's transfer of property?
No.
Transfer of property is there only if it is registered with the registrar. Agreement does not mean a transfer of property. So you would be liable again at that stage. Now let's look at this a little holistically. I have told you very bad news. Everywhere I am saying you have to pay. Is it bad news? Not bad news at all. All I have to do is fund his initial payment. I have to fund his initial service tax payment. Because he may not have money. He has 10 acres of property. But 1.2 crores, so do you have 1.2 crores to give me? Give the department, you don't have. So I'll have, as a builder, I'll have to fund him that. I'll give him an advance, he will pay it. What I will do, this is not my only project, I have got 10 projects going on, I'll take credit of it and utilize it in my projects. Subsequently, I will bill him. As and when he constructs, as and when he sells, sorry, not constructs, I construct, he sells. As and when he comes up with an agreement to sell, I will raise a bill on him. First option is, first bill only on 5% or 4.944, I'll charge him, he will be eligible for credit. Second, as and when I build and construct, I'll raise an invoice on him only when he sells. Out of his 60 apartments, he may sell only 10 apartments. So for those 10 apartments at those stages, I'll give him a construction bill. And he can take credit of that. Based on that credit, he can sell his apartment also and collect the money from his customer. Are you seeing what we are doing? It's only cash flow. No cost to anybody in this case. But why I bought so many things into the first bit itself is, my first question was to have a clarity on mere transfer of title. Now I will come, we'll forget about sir. Yes?
So in this case, so can you hear me?
Yeah, I am little deaf unfortunately.
Sir, in this case which you just said that as and when the construction, so the landlord is selling the property, then and there the contractor will be billing him.
Yes.
Sir, but then the service tax would arise at the time when the land is transferred to the builder.
I also put a caveat. If you are not going for that first option, there are a lot of options in this. On the day one, when he bills me for giving land, I can bill him for construction of the entire property at the same value and finish. Story is over.
But need not we do it, sir, because the consideration is received to the builder at that very point because the land has been given to him for construction.
Yeah. Again, I will go back to point of taxation. I will go back to point of taxation, and some of them were talking about this consideration, whether the consideration actually received by him. His consideration will be received only if I construct. If I don't construct, he gets nothing. And therefore, on that argument, I will then charge him his construction only when he sells anything, because the need to give him a bill only arises if there is a need to pay service tax. And my need to pay service tax will arise because now that he is selling the property to somebody else, he can collect the service tax from him. Remember that example I talked about, customer, vendor. This is an integration of that principle. He is going to sell to somebody who is willing to pay him the service tax. Correct? I want him to get his whole service tax. He is not going to do anything except adjust the credit. So on day one I might have charged him service tax, one possibility. Whatever rate, say 10 crores he charged me, 10 crores I will charge and give him the service tax. 5% I will pay, I will charge. 50 lakhs is to his credit on day one. Possibility 1. Possibility 2, he charges me when he sells the land to me, I keep quiet. As and when the building gets constructed, I say that till the building is constructed, he gets nothing. It is still contingent. I say that the service is contingent, only by build he will get it. And therefore at that time, on my cost of my construction, along with my normal gross profit, I will charge him for the construction. And then he will take credit of that. Obviously that will be much more than 50 lakhs.
And so is it advisable to pay the service tax on the land which is being transferred? So what would be, is it just a transfer of property which is happening or is the land
No.
providing
See,
any service?
why we said why? We have, in this example we took first we said whether this is a transfer of title. If it is a transfer of title, there is no service tax. That we decided is not a transfer of title. Therefore, he has to charge service tax to me. Next question was on what value. We came up with various options. Guidance value, then market value, then he said constructed apartment value. We had 3 different suggestions. Now we are trying to see in certain circumstances how it can be. What are the alternatives? Alternative 1 is he bills me, I bill him over. After that he takes credit, as and when he sells, he utilizes that credit. When he doesn't sell, that whatever amount I have charged him becomes a loss for me because he is not going to pay me. He might sell only in the end of the project, he has 60 flats, but he is selling only 10 flats.
Yes.
So whatever service tax I have charged him is a cost for him and he is not going to pay me anything. You understand? So I am just trying to give some, in these examples, at best these are all thought process which you will get. So you have to look at what is the underlying thought process or the planning which is possible in this. So we go further. I wanted to take some more examples. Yeah. Now we have finished with landlord. Okay. Finished with landlord means we have good relationship till I finish my building. Net result is you have options. And you need not pay from your pocket as a landlord. I am making you fully happy in this transaction. Even though you will collect service tax from your buyers, whoever buys, you will keep the service tax in your pocket. That service tax will be additional income to you if you do the planning which I have told. It will be additional for you. Now I go to the builder. I have got this agricultural land and I want to build. I want to build. As per the approval, I can build up to 5 floors. But there is a concept of TDR, right? There is a concept of buying higher conversion factor, FSI. Lunch is not ready, sir. That is the slip which I had got. So it is not because of me you are not getting lunch, you are not getting because of ERC. I am very clear. Because of earthquake. In fact, you saw them, they lifted, they were also running out. And they were taking the laddus and going out. I don't know why. If I myself am not there, what will I do with the laddu? I was thinking. Our cameraman also, he ran, picked up his bag and camera and went. Of course, I also picked up my bag and went.
But it was bad, 7.5 they are saying.
7.7.
Pokhara.
Oh, okay.
So it's
I
very
don't
bad.
understand technically.
All over the West Bengal, it was happening.
Pardon?
All over India.
All over India.
Oh, hope it's not because of my landing here.
Could be, sir.
Could be. Who
Because of
knows?
GST.
Yeah, maybe because of GST also. So now I look at TDR. Tell me whether TDR can be excluded here. Again, I go back to the definition. Why I am stopping at each point is, I want you to understand the significance of every word. It is not what Madhukar thinks about it, it is not what you think about it, it is what the law is. And around the law, of course, our interpretation of the law. So can a TDR be an activity which constitutes merely a transfer of title in goods? What does a TDR give? It allows me to construct something legally beyond what I am allowed to construct. Instead of 5 floors, I can put up 8 floors after I buy the TDR. So now, whoever is selling the TDR, does he have to charge service tax? As per the definition only, we are stopping at this definition. We are not looking at other aspects. Is it a transaction of merely transfer of immovable property? I am asking. I also don't know the answer. These are all new things. I am just asking you a question.
Transferring some rights to do something.
Yes?
Transferring some right to do something.
Yeah, it is a right. Is it a transfer of title in immovable property?
No, not.
It's not. So I also would probably go with that and say that there is a liability. Sometimes clients want some validation from your side. So now I am going to get into some practice hints. One of the ways in which we sometimes are able to look at client is whenever there is a doubt. Now in this landlord you saw so much doubt was there within ourselves. In TDR also he has a doubt. It's not that he's telling this is not liable, not saying that, or this is liable, he's not saying that. He says it may be liable, I think. It's not a transfer of property. But if I ask this question to department, what is going to happen? If I were to ask officially, not unofficially, I'll ask officially, put on record, I got this TDR, is it liable to service tax? I don't think it's liable to service tax because it allows me to build a property and it's a transfer of property and I maybe look at some case laws and give some case laws. I'm also not sure, I'm not telling you it's not liable, I'm saying I have a doubt whether it's liable. That is what I'm saying. So if I put this doubt to the department and they don't respond to me, what happens? 95% or 99% if I send this letter to the Service Tax Commissionerate in West Bengal, I will not get an answer.
And it will go in my favor.
Yes, sir?
It will go in my favor.
Yes, the fact that they are not replying will go in my favor because under the service tax law, you have a 18-month period beyond which department cannot demand the money at all. So say they don't reply to you for 2 years, what will happen? You are safe. Are you getting one more aspect of tax planning? Say gentleman has come to me and I tell all this, then he goes back to the builder and says, sir, you will have to pay the service tax, I am going to charge you, you have to pay, I don't have money, I gave this property to you because I don't have money. If I had money, I would have built it myself, I would have made you a contractor in my site. Correct? That is what you will say. So can we use this as a tax planning tool? Tell the department, this land is there, I am not sure whether it is a transfer of immovable property. Even if it is transfer of immovable property, I don't know on what value. Please guide me. They don't guide you for 2 years. After 2 years they come to you and say that no, you pay. Now we have got knowledge. Can they take the money from you? They can't take. No. You can give it to any good chartered accountant who is going to the tribunal. Of course, at the first stage is not tribunal, but I am saying ultimately you will get relief at tribunal saying that there is a limitation. You should have asked him, he wrote a letter to you asking you clearly for advice. You have not told him. If you don't know and he doesn't know, how can you penalize him for that? Beyond 1.5 years. Within 1.5 years, if they reply, you are in trouble. If they don't, as sir says, it is going to be to your advantage. This is a general thought process in service tax. I'll give you one more secret. We win around 98 to 99% of the cases we represent. 40% we win on this one. 40% of the cases we win on this. That means the 3,500, 1,400 cases we'll win only on this limitation because we have written to the department earlier.
Only once, no reminders.
Pardon?
Only once, no reminders.
No, if it is more than 100 crores, we give reminder also. How the reminder is given is very nice. You send him a registered post letter saying, dear sir, please refer to our letter dated so and so in this regard. In what regard? We don't know. Kindly let us know whether you have made up your mind. Now that fellow says, what is this letter? Do you think his filing system is, forget about him. Look at our office. Can we find that letter in our office? Maybe difficult. Client's office, more difficult. Department, almost impossible. So you will put this letter also into the file. I am just telling you, but don't enclose everything. Attached to all the corresponding. He may then have a different view. Yes, so No reminder also okay. If it is a very big project, give him 1 or 2 reminders. In fact, when audit is being asked by department and they don't come, I have my clients send them reminders. I tell them, you are helping your future. This year they came, they threatened, we are going to come for audit. Then they didn't come. So many people will say, they are not coming for audit, is very good. Why should I remind them? Send them, there is some problem, that's why it's not coming. No. Send him, maybe reorganization, something has happened which you don't know. Send him a registered post letter. You said you will come for audit, already 6 months you have not come. Please come. He will not reply to that also. He is not going to tell all his internal problems to you. So it's useful when you come for litigation. You can say that I am Satya Harishchandra, I do all the things as per law. I have also started feeling hungry. Datta ji, khana wana khila rahe hain ya aise hi? Pakka khilai. No, 1 or 2 fellows have already indicated. वो बीच में बोल रहे थे ये मधुकर तो बात करते ही जा रहे हैं, कब ब्रेक करेगा? So the other important definition, now I have finished with service. Can you imagine how long we spent in service? More than 1 hour we have spent. This is how interesting this subject can become. Declared service. Declared service, it says any activity carried on by such person as is allowed as declared service. Let us look at the important definitions. I think somewhere that declared service will come little later. I don't know who prepared this. Maybe Mona Lisa Khuntia has to be caught for this because it's not coming in sequence. Transfer of goods involved is leviable to VAT or CST depending. CST also can be there. Interstate works contract can be there. For carrying out construction, erection, commissioning, this is a definition of works contract. And it is on movable, immovable property. Both are there. So works contract is very wide. Anywhere where you have amalgam of labor and goods, works contract will be there. As far as service tax is concerned, if something is a works contract, then only it is liable to service tax. So if something is not a works contract, then what happens? I'll give you an interesting case. I don't know. You will have to decide whether it applies to you in West Bengal or not. There was a case in one particular decision. I think it was consolidated something. JSG may know, Karnataka High Court it was. Anyway, the background was this. Plotted development is there, right? I have 100 acres, I put up plotted development. When I do this plotted development, one part of the property I give to the government. 50%, 45% after putting all the roads and all, I give it to the government. Sell it to the government at zero, gift it to the government. This is the way I have to do if I want my property approved. So the question which comes here is that I am giving this to the government. So is it works contract? There is a question. Under VAT, this is not a service tax problem, this is a VAT problem. In fact, service tax has such a close interaction, that's why I had said that VAT should be taken first so that I can leave out all the VAT portion and only tell you the service tax portion. Now the question is whether there is a VAT on that. What is happening? I am doing all this works contract, laying of roads, putting up electrical lines, gutters, storm drain, water tank, everything I am putting. But am I transferring it to the buyer, the person who buys the plot? No, I transfer it to the municipality, Karnataka, Calcutta municipality or some local municipality.
Without consideration.
Pardon?
Without consideration.
Without consideration. So is it a transfer of property? Very important point which he said. No consideration. So Karnataka High Court said, no liability, no works contract.
Even if there is a consideration, then also what I am giving is not goods.
No sir.
Even if there is a consideration.
Works, it is a works contract sir. I am putting the road and I am charging the I am not charging the government but I am putting the road. It is a works contract for sure. Labor is involved, material is involved or not, you put a road.
But value is zero, no sir?
Value is zero. The point is only the consideration. So Karnataka High Court said there is no consideration. Where is the, how can it be a works contract? They said it's not a works contract. Now my question is, in this layout, since it is not a works contract, will service tax come on that again? The answer is it's not a works contract, therefore no service tax also on that. Are you catching? Straight away you have removed in a plotted development, you have removed substantial amount of the value out of the purview of service tax. The balance still will be liable. That is another point. Their land value will be there, then what services you provide within the plot will be there. There may be services like leveling the land, marking the land, all that you will have to pay service tax. But in 1,000 rupee or 5,000 rupees per square feet property, you may have service tax to be paid only on 100 or 200 rupees, if you follow this philosophy.
But
Yes, sir.
the buyers are charged for the common area and the roads and other facilities are part of the common area.
Everything is collected by them. I am only stuck on my first point. Under service tax, if it is not a works contract, under the law, under VAT law, it cannot be liable to service tax under.
I understood that, but my question is, can the seller charge the service tax to the buyers, ultimate buyers of the plot?
How can he? He does not transfer the property to them. That whatever bitumen he used on the road, that poles which he used, everything he has given government. Government can review that road, relay that road, change that pipe.
So whatever 20% or 25% is the common area allocations which is being charged to the buyers.
Only for plotted development, not for flats.
Yeah, for the
Plotted.
Yeah, plotted.
I am making only plot, 50 by 60, 60 by 70. Only for that this particular example is relevant. I only brought it out to tell you how, these seminars will only give you an idea about how much of different thought process can be there. And whatever little I know, I am sharing. Definition of works contract under CST and VAT is much wider than what is there in the service tax law. So what all contracts can be covered? This is just to allow you to think that it's not only building. We are talking of building, but repair of a building will be eligible, will also be liable to service tax. One more interesting thing. 99% of the companies who spend money on building repairs do not take SUNMAT credit. But there is no bar against that. Only for construction or setting up there is a bar. For repairing a building, there is no bar. Recently I was in a particular company where I saw 1.8 crores was the building repair. I asked them, service tax they are charging? Yes sir, we are not taking, we are not allowed to take. I said, why? No sir, construction credit we can't take. I said, please open. Where does it say repair credit you can't take? Only for setting up an original construction you can't. So for the rest of it, it's eligible. This is another value add for you. If you go to your client and find he is not taking credit on repairs, you can. Yes sir.
Here question, so in some of the contracts, we are segregating them into material and labor. But here some of the department is insisting you have to merge them and pay service tax on that.
That is a valuation aspect. I am coming to it. I will come in the valuation. I am going to discuss that in detail. Really very important because there you will determine on what amount you are paying. Whether you are paying on 40%, 20% or what. So it's very important.
Painting also is covered.
Yes, paint is the material, labor is the applying. So both will be covered under works contract. The scope of it is further defined where you find, even erection, commissioning is there. Machinery, equipment, structures are attached or embedded to earth after erection or commissioning. All these are works contract examples. Now I come to his question of works contract valuation. If I were to look at works contract, valuation can play a very big role. One, if I am able to determine my value of material on actual basis properly, then on that amount I have to pay VAT. I'll give you one example. Recently, one of our clients was putting up a showroom. In that showroom, the interiors was all imported marble. You know how much imported marble costs per square feet? How much it can cost?
250, 300.
Thousands, sir. Thousands. Imported marble. It was a showroom, jewelry showroom in Bangalore. I can't tell you the name, of course, but you may guess. So that was costing that much. If you were to go under this works contract concept, then that fellow will end up paying huge amount of service tax because That is not an original construction. It is, marble is put wherever to decorate the place. Steel and marble were used. So what we told him is better to have separation in your contract, because the contract itself was about 20 crores. And he said, sir, marble itself will be 15 to 16 crores. So then I said, why don't you want the works contract? Why don't you want the actual? Don't try to club it and make it into one contract. Break it, as he said. Break it into two parts and justify it. I am not saying non-justified breaking up. I am not saying, hera-fairy. When the material cost is 85% or 90%, pay VAT on that. Only on the balance you pay service tax. So service tax took an objection. Service tax people said, you pay on 60%, 70 now. 60% for that period and 70% for this period. So service tax officers told them to pay that. Of course, this was all oral. As usual, we had sent our Brahmastra. What is the Brahmastra? Letter, yes. In detail we had sent. So the fellow called him, and my that fellow called, sir, should I go? Because you have told. I said, you can go, don't give him anything. Only if you give something, then he is interested. रोड में कुत्ता जाते रहता है, उसको बिस्किट डालो फर्स्ट डे, नेक्स्ट डे विल कम अगेन नियर यू. You have to decide, biscuit dalna या ना dalna. So this is the way I tell my clients. So they went and talked to him. He said, no, you have to pay on 70%. So the law is very clear. You have a rule which says that wherever you have material value, that material value can be excluded. As long as you are able to identify the material value correctly, properly, then you don't have a problem.
I'll have two contracts.
Pardon?
I'll have two contracts.
Yes, I can have two contracts if I want. But actually, whether it's same contract or two contracts, having two contracts has a lot of practical advantages. These fellows don't understand that two contracts can be within one contract. So you make two separate contracts, same date, co-terminus contracts. Ensure the value is taken properly. In this case, we had valued it properly. And you know what I did? Since the amount was large, I told him to take a cost accounting certificate also. What does the cost accounting certificate say? As per cost accounting standard number so and so, so and so, so and so, so and so, we have applied all that and we have come to a understanding that the material cost is 92%, including gross profit, everything is mentioned. But we chose to take 90% for VAT and 10% for service tax. So we said, we are giving you the certificate. If you have any further issues, you tell us. So when these people came back, we sent the cost accounting certificate along with Rule 2A extract. Please read Rule 2A. It allows us to deduct value of material. And as per the cost accounting certificate, I could have deducted 92. I am only deducting 90. If you have any further doubt on this, please come back to us. So Brahmastra presently working. Still they have time. 18 months time is there. If they send in between, then we have a problem. If they don't, khatam ho gaya. That case also. So this is the best method, but it may not work in all cases. Practically, if we see, many of our clients are unorganized and they will not be able to do all this. You will say, contract में कुछ रहेगा सर, दूसरे contract में कुछ रहेगा. इसमें तो मैं 50% कैश का परचेस कर रहा हूँ, बायर भी 50% कैश में दे रहा है, इसमें मेरे को 70% कैश मिल रहा है, इसमें मेरे को 90% कैश मिल रहा है. Now this permutation combination we can't do anything, then they have to go under composition, no tax planning. Straight away easiest method, apply and go ahead. Otherwise you can do this. Method 2, where the value is not ascertainable, then for original works, you have to pay service tax on 40%. What is original works? Maybe you have to spend little more time on this. Original works means what? Anything which is done for the first time. There is a definition of original works also. You can go through the definition. But as I understand, original works is something you do for the first time. When I do repair, it's not original works. So if I am doing repair, then I fall into the second bit, which says that I have to pay on 70%. Can you imagine? VAT you are paying on 75%, service tax you are paying on 70%. If the client does not pay you the service tax, where are you going to go? 12.5% into 70% is a large amount.